And once again, on behalf of the management, our staff, all the administrative staff, I once again extend a very, very warm welcome to all our parents taking time out to be present over here, to partnership with the school, because it's not always that you get an opportunity to have all the staff present over here and also all the administrative staff present over here, where you can interact with them. Even though the admin staff are a bit elusive because of the kind of work schedule that they have right from 7:30 in the morning to 5 in the evening. But surely you can always meet us by appointment from between a Monday to Friday between 10 a.m. and to 12 noon, only through prior appointments. And it is important for the very fact that we also get an opportunity to interact with parents and to know their feedbacks on where, in which field we could make improvements. Though we are a school well founded, our foundations are strong, and we take our strength from our founder school, the Bishop School Camp. We have trained the staff over here, all qualified staff to look after your children. But nevertheless, it is always an opportunity to partnership with each other, to meet each other, to understand what our parents expect of us and what we expect of our parents, and that is what we discuss today and we bring to you. And I'm happy that many have taken time out to be present over here. I can understand it's a working day. Many parents are busy and they are unable to be present over here. But nevertheless, we are happy that at least we have a half house full over here today in school. So thank you once again for your presence and for taking time out. And I will go ahead now to introduce the staff that are dealing with your children, looking after your children, both the class teachers as well as the subject teachers. I will begin with the principal, as you can see, and that is important because you don't get a chance to see the principal every day. So that is why it is important for you to come to this principal's address. So in the picture as well as live over here, that's Mr. School.Undri. And moving on, we have the headmaster, Mr. Ralph Russell. Mr. Ralph Russell is in charge of the middle school and the senior school, that is from standard 6 to standard 10. He's housed in building B3, and you'll get a chance to meet him once your children reach standard 6. We have our headmistress, Mrs. Melissa Fernandez. First, she was designated as a supervisor. Now at the governing body meeting, she has been redesignated as the headmistress of the junior school. And for all your queries with regards to your children, B1 on the first floor. We have the junior college coordinator, Dr. Mrs. Ulfur Beg. Dr. Beg looks after class 11 and 12. Since we are addressing parents of class 3 to 5, Dr. Beg is busy with the junior college. We have our senior administrative coordinator, Mrs. Sheila Kurian and Mrs. Alpana Khandelwal. Mrs. Kurian looks after standard 9 and 10, and Mrs. Khandelwal classes 6 to 8. Both are busy in their teaching assignments. The junior administrative coordinators, we have Mrs. M. Pillai, who looks after standard nursery to standard 1, and we have Mr. S. Francis, who looks after standard 2 to standard 5. Our school psychologist, Dr. Y. Singh. If you have any problems with your children, especially where discipline is concerned, their studies, we have a school counselor also. Dr. Singh is available only on Wednesdays because she goes to our other two sister institutions from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. You can meet her also but through prior appointment. Our school doctor, Dr. Nalevar, who looks after all our children if they are sent to the infirmary. Now beginning with class 3A, our class teachers for class 3A, and also the coordinator, Mrs. Samantha Kohli. They can clap at the end of the, once I've introduced them. Class 3B, Mr. Clifford Morant. Class 3C, Mrs. Selvi Paul. Class 3D, Mrs. Dhanashri Adamane. Class 3E, Mrs. Smita Kabde. Class 3F, Miss Gloria Barnabas. Teachers, please sit down. Only when your names are called, please stand. Mrs. Gloria Barnabas. Class 3G, Mrs. Maria Kamble. She is on maternity leave. So we have Mrs. Esther D'Souza filling in her place. Class 3H, we have Mrs. Suparna Shah. Class 3I, Mr. Jesse Gotti. For class 4A, class teacher and also the coordinator of class 4, Mrs. Meena D. Samuel. Class 4B, Mrs. Renita Didi. Class 4C, Mrs. Shiva Saldana. Class 4D, Mrs. Rosie Baptist. Class 4E, Mrs. Veera Luke. Class 4F, Mrs. Minnie Badola. Class 4G, Mrs. Joyce Kotak. Class 4H, Mrs. Pratiksha Wagmare. And class 4I, Mrs. Triola Dominic. Moving on to class 5. For class 5A, and also the coordinator for the classes 5, Mrs. Sheetal Salvi. Class 5B, Mrs. Seema Gupta. Class 5C, Mrs. Kamaljeet Kaur. Class 5D, Mrs. Christina David. Class 5E, Mrs. Natasha De Cruz. Class 5F, Miss Jagruti Jituri. Class 5G, Mrs. Preeti Russell. Class 5H, Mrs. Rebecca Benjamin. Class 5I, Mrs. Anuprita Pawar. Moving on to our subject teachers. For Hindi, Mrs. Rekha Jaiswal. Mrs. Doreen Tilagari. Mrs. Sapna Nanda. Mrs. Pooja Singh. Mrs. Hemlata Sharma. And Mrs. Kirti Gujarati. For Marathi, we have Mrs. Savita Borate, Mrs. Shushma Dalvi, and Mrs. Urmila Tripathi. Physical education, we have Mr. Ashish Chakke. Mr. Ashish Chakke. For computers, sorry. Computers, Mr. Paul Raj Thomas, Mrs. Rabia Sheikh, and Mrs. Smita Tripathi. For physical education, we have Mr. Ashish Chakke, Mr. David Lazarus, Ms. Fazilat Khan. Ms. Fazilat Khan has taken our under 14 girls for the SISKI third place match, which is being played at one of the Mother Patra schools. Mr. Prashad Thorat and Mr. Gajanan Rajudwar. For music, we have Mr. K. Chao Ming Liana and Mr. Amar Mane. For art and craft, Mr. Santosh Salunke, Mr. Srimant Lad, Mrs. Amruta Darekar. Our councillor, Ms. Dipali Chakranarayan. Remedial educator, Ms. Ria De Cruz. For mathematics, Mrs. Sheetal Andrews and Mrs. Christina Menezes. Our librarian, Mr. David Benedict. Our cricket academy and sportive head in charge, Mr. Ashutosh Mandave. The introduction of our second shift staff, our junior administrative coordinator, Mrs. M. Marion, that's for nursery to UKG, and Mr. Greg Godfrey from Standard 1 to Standard 5. For Class 3A, we have Mr. Arthur Bergeon. For Class 4A, Ms. Mehfri Katila. And for Class 5A, Mr. Greg Godfrey. The subject teachers in the second shift, Hindi, we have Ms. Amruta Khilare. For computers, Mrs. Triveni Dharanpar, I always can't get her name, Dharanpar Panavar. For Marathi and Sanskrit, we have Mrs. Komal Paul. For music, we have Mrs. Ruth Cornelius. For physical education, Ms. Sukriti Das. For art and craft, Mr. Nilesh Karande. Our councillor, Ms. Dipali Chakranayan, I think. She's known to Mrs. Dipali Chakranayan. She is Mrs. Dipali Gotting. Am I right? Our remedial educator, Ms. Stuti Savagi. And for mathematics, we have Mrs. Wendy Dias. So now you can clap, please, teachers, parents. Thank you so much. This is a new initiative that we've taken. I know principal's address is always a little monotonous. So to add some flavor to it, we said we'll give you some digital presentation. And since you're sitting far away, teachers are sitting on stage. It's quite dark. I think you can't see their faces. So I think you'll recognize the teachers now after what you've seen on the screen. Moving ahead, I'd like to invite Dr. Y. Singh to address the gathering. As we know, your children are speeding towards adolescence, and this is the age. Dr. Singh will fill you into some good parenting tips on how the development, especially their social and emotional development, does take place at this current age. Dr. Y.
Speaking to all the age groups, but this age group is honestly the best. Why? Because it's the last of childhood. Your 8, 9 and 10-year-olds, after this phase, suddenly change, disappear and become something completely different. This is also the most impressionable stage, much more than the first 7 years and the teenage years. Why? Because by now, your children are equipped with a lot of physical, socio-emotional and intellectual abilities. So they become like these mini role players of yours. They've got their own processing mechanism, which is still very immature. So let's first understand what your children are like at this phase and what are some of the things that you all need to do very, very pertinently at this phase. So this phase of development by Erikson is called industry versus inferiority. Every developmental stage, right from birth up till death, has a requirement. It has a specific need, and at every phase, if that need is not fulfilled, there are complications which land up. Even you all have a particular need at this point. So every age has a need. So what is the need of this phase? Why is it called industry? And why is it called versus inferiority? Because this phase, the child needs to feel and thrives on praise, thrives on feeling industrious and validated. The industriousness comes from a lot of reward at the sense of being successful at a task. And it's not necessarily an academic task itself. It's about doing little things, it's about helping around, household chores, giving responsibilities, sports, extracurricular activities. This is the time when they kind of emphasize on learning to a large extent. And therefore, even academically, this is a very, very solid foundation. And this is, in fact, the time when a lot of our communication relationship with the child is being formed. The child now is at that stage of intellectual development by Piaget called the concrete stage, where your child is now slowly learning to infer. They can make logical conclusions, they can put two and two together, they can be quite smart when it comes to understanding conversations between you all, when you all are being sarcastic, when you all are lying to them, when you all are scolding them, etc. Morally, they're still at that phase, they're about 10 years of age, where everything is on their rewards. What am I going to get out of this? I'll do it for that. So, what kind of reinforcements are given to them is very important. Am I going to be punished for this? Then I won't do it. Am I going to be harmed by this? So their moral development is still at that stage. So now what happens with this stage is that one of the most important things that happen is your child could land up with a lot of anxieties and fears because they have this half-baked information processing. They understand a lot, they pick up words, but they don't know how to process it completely. So sometimes half-baked information can land up in a lot of fears. So we have our maximum anxiety cases for fear of ghosts, fear of the unknown, fear of the dark, fear of parents dying, come from this age. So what you expose to them in terms of media, the kind of movies, the kind of conversations, any kind of marital conflict, try and avoid it in front of them. They're at this stage where they copy you the most. See, at a younger age, they're only imitating you. But at this stage, they are imbibing you. So what you talk to them, how you speak to them, is the most important at this phase. So this is the final molding stage that you have with them. And it's beautiful because what you say is still the gospel truth for them. Last phase parents, because the minute they turn preteens, they are going to argue and rebel with you all on everything. At this stage, to have a structure, very important because they are building up the capacity to start working much more hard than they could before. So third, fourth and fifth is that point where they need to have a definite study regime. They need to have a play regime. They need to have activities which is family oriented. You all must have some time in the day where you all are just spending time with them, devoid of any kind of expectations and tasks. See to it that it's not only instruction giving at the whole day. Very often we love them the most when they're asleep. So try to express love to them even when they're awake. Because very often what we do is we're only telling them, and by now they have probably younger siblings, they're suddenly the older ones, a lot of expectations out of them, but they're still babies when you go to see social-emotionally, because they're neither pre-teenagers and they are neither the babies they were before. So what happens is our expectations of them suddenly go up so much that sometimes our way of talking to them becomes suddenly very adult-like. Yes, we need to speak to them as adults, but without forgetting that they are actually processing things that you're saying from their age level. So it's important that they spend at least 1.5 hours on regular study regime. There's no need for tuitions. If you all have a consistent uniform pattern at home, is going to be enough at this stage. If you all take their academics seriously from now, they will kind of form the base. This is the time if you feel your child has no concerns with academics and has been managing well, then wean off and let them be independent with their work. But if on the other hand you feel that your child has got some neurological problems with learning, then be prepared to finger hold your child till grade 10. Do not compare your child with anyone else, especially through these WhatsApp groups where there's a lot of showcasing of trophy children. Your child is not a trophy child. Your child is yours unconditionally. Accept your child without, kind of having any kind of rewards based on how much the child has achieved. We had a case where right up to 5th standard, this child would come, particularly after report days, with anxiety because every year the child was promised a cycle and would not get it because he fell short of his 85%, which the father had kept as a gauge for him to get a cycle. That child has already turned 10. His cycling years, the primary cycling years, are almost getting over. So at this point, what kind of reinforcements you are using, understanding how capable your child is, definitely not, kind of giving your child the base of being successful only in one particular area as forming his self-esteem. These are the years where your child's self-esteem is forming. This is the first exposure to body image. And this is the first time that they become conscious of themselves as a gender. So it's very important for you all that what kind of conversations you all have, try to see that they're not gender-based, no partiality. There needs to be conversations where they're involved and a lot of choice-making abilities are given to them. So at this phase, parents, the most important thing for you all to understand is that engage with your child. Besides being taskmasters, engage at a parent level, because then by teenage, very often you lose out on them ever communicating with you. We have teenagers who come and say, please don't tell my parents. Don't let it come to that point, because this is the stage where they are craving to have adult conversations with you, to have these sudden exposures to sex education and what they feel about certain things and what their views are on things. Be completely bias-free. Do not have shock value. Do not be opinionated all the time. And most important, do not give advice all the time. Sometimes, like I said, just engage with them, spend time with them, do certain activities together, and make it a point that one parent is very busy, then have rituals like going out for lunch with just that parent on a particular week. This is the time to set this solid foundation of your relationship, because they are absolutely craving for it the most in the human span. So enjoy these best magical years, because they are going to fly by too soon. Happy parenting.
Every year as your child progresses to the next class, and many of the points that I'm going to reiterate here, you would have come across them over the past many years. But it is very important for us to remind you of many of the norms, the guidelines that are necessary for the well-being of your child in our institution. So please be patient with me. As you're aware, uniform and dress code is a very, very important and a vital part of a child's life in the school. We have noticed over the past many days, as children are coming into school, parents are not looking at their uniforms, their shoes, socks. In fact, this morning, sir did notice many of our students who are wearing PT uniforms are coming with black shoes. And this supposedly the children have mentioned that this has been put on the WhatsApp group by some of the parents that they can wear black shoes, and so many of our students are coming into school wearing black shoes. Please ensure that the proper uniform is being followed. We, as you are aware, that we look into every aspect in ensuring that your child is safe and is coming in, with the best comfort available. But due to the monsoons, so has given that leeway of them wearing their PT uniforms. So I request your parents to please ensure that they come in PT uniforms with white socks and white pair of shoes. If a child is sent home, please do not take it that we are humiliating your child. It is just a form of discipline that a child knows that he cannot come in or she cannot come in to school with the wrong uniform. Kindly note that today the diaries are being given to the students in the classroom. I know there has been a short delay, so please bear with us. Please ensure that you sign the diaries on a daily basis. This is a very important tool of communication between the teachers at the grassroots level and your children. Please ensure that you sign these daily. Kindly send books according to the timetable. This is a fact. We have uploaded the textbook schedule. We are even ensuring that the weight of the bag is not too much, that the children are not carrying too many books to school. But yet, we have so many of our children coming in with heavy bags. Why? Because they're carrying all the textbooks and all the notebooks to school. Am I right, teachers? So we have many of our teachers now who are checking the bags in the classroom. Please, parents, please cooperate, because we don't want the children to hunch. This will affect their spine, which is very, very important for their entire lives. Kindly send books according to the timetable. So, if there is an error while they are doing any corrections, please do not hesitate to write a note to the teacher. As you understand, she is not a superhuman being, or he is not a superhuman being, where every letter and every word could be corrected. So please be very, very patient. Thank you for being so patient. Yeah. So please. I'm just going to do it from here. So please do not hesitate to maybe write a note to the class teacher. You can meet her on a Friday after school and just let her know that, ma'am, this is an error. Because I understand, as Dr. Singh did mention, that this age group of 8, 9 and 10 is an impressionable age where the teacher is the hero and God for every child. No matter how much ever as parents will tell the child, no, this is incorrect, this is not right, the teacher has put a tick, she has put a star, this is wrong. But I'm sure your children are not going to listen to that. I'm sure you would have experienced that over the years, and so please bear with them. Please do not send your child, especially if he or she is sick. Over the years, this has been a constant point that we have reiterated over and over again, and this usually happens when we have assessments. As you are aware that we do not have any retests in the junior section. If a child has missed the test due to illness or whatever reason, we ensure that your child is sent home. But despite that, many parents come in to B1, they argue with the coordinators, with the teachers, they want the child to sit in the class, do the test. Please understand, the test is not as important as your child. God forbid if your child fails in the classroom or something drastic happens, who will be responsible? It will be the class teacher. So please do not put us through that test. Attendance, as you are aware, is uploaded before 11 a.m. All the teachers upload the attendance. You get a notification saying that your child is present or absent. But in case there is an error, sometimes we have 2 or 3 or more children with the same surname. Sometimes you have 2 or more children with the same name and surname. And definitely the teacher, as you are aware, she's teaching in the classroom. She has so many things on her mind. She goes to the staff room, uploads with one click, and sometimes by mistake the wrong child's name is clicked. And immediately you get the message. Please do not hesitate to call the school office or think, do not panic. We will revert back immediately. Lee? Leave applications, as you're aware, we do not accept any hard copies or letters from parents anymore. You will apply on the TBS online, and any mails that need to be sent with any query or anything, you can forward the same to HMS UND@thebishopschool.net. If any students are having any major ailments, I know for a fact that we even today have some of our students suffering with cancer, some with asthma, some with epileptic fits. Whatever serious illnesses are their parents, please ensure that a medical report related to the same is given in to our school doctor, to the school nurse. I make a Xerox copy and send it to all the authorities, to the principal, to the class teacher, coordinator. And if there is any first aid or anything that we need to do, please let us know, because this is important so that your child is kept safe in our care. In case you need to apply for long leave, kindly send an email. I've already mentioned the same. Kindly adhere to the reporting time of the school. As you're aware, the students of classes 1 to 5 come in by 7:45 and leave by 1:35, and of the second shift by 11:45. Their classes begin at 12, right up till 5 p.m. Please ensure that the children are coming in time. I know over the last few days, we have been a little flexible, giving the children a buffer time of 10 minutes or 15 minutes due to the traffic coming in, the numbers that are coming into our institution. So after a few days that will be stopped, the gates will be closed. Kindly advise and discourage your child from using bad language. Very often children are exposed to peers, they pick up certain words, they use it in the classroom, they use it at home. Please, the moment you notice that, please ensure that you correct them and tell them what is right from wrong. No complaining or criticizing the teachers. We are an institution, we are open to constructive criticism, we are very open to suggestions, we are very open to your feedback about certain things. And if we feel, yes, we can implement this, we definitely do. If we feel that no, this is not possible, we won't. So please ensure that whatever you do it in a positive manner. Do not unnecessarily or at all demean your child's teacher. You may not realize it, as I mentioned, the teacher is everything in the world for your child. Your child is spending so many hours with the concerned teacher, maybe more than you also. So please ensure that anything that you say in front of your child definitely has a positive or negative impact. If there's anything, feel free to meet the class teacher. If you're not satisfied, you can go and meet the class coordinator. If you're not satisfied with that, we have administrative coordinators. Not satisfied, you can come and meet me. I will try my best to solve the issue. If I cannot, only then it goes to the principal's desk where the buck stops. Sometimes sections are changed of the students. This is due to various reasons and taken care by our Sparkle section, as well as sometimes we have numbers varying in our various sections. So to ensure that all the classes have the same numbers, we do change the section, but that happens at the beginning of the session, not during the course of the year. Rumors and gossiping by forming groups on WhatsApp and criticizing the class teacher in front of your board. Please do not hesitate to phone or write for clarifications from the administration. I think time and again we have been stressing on this point. In fact, we did online classes for 2 weeks, as you're aware. You can see the work that is happening in the school. Various notices were uploaded by the principal over a span of, I think, 8 or 10 days, letting you know what is the situation that we are facing in the school. If you would have come in on the first day, the entire field, right from the principal's office, right till our nursery where our plants were kept, was completely dug. There were mounds of soil. You would have never believed that this is Bishop Square School.Undri. Even our principal has been day in and day out here, right through the summer holidays. I think we have had a holiday, but he hasn't. You can understand the kind of pressure and the stress that we as a management and the teachers have been through. But yet, on the WhatsApp group, the moment we put up the notice for online classes, it was very disheartening and very sad to see that many of you only started messaging in a negative manner. That we are paying so much fees to the school and they just want to find out shortcuts to get our children and have online classes. We understand you are working parents. We understand the problems you as parents face where you have to be with these children, sit with them and guide them. But I salute the parents. I know and I'm aware there are quite a number of parents who have put up very, very positive messages on the group, stopping the other parents from just gaslighting and going on and on in a negative manner. You have put your child here. You have to understand that we want the best for your child. Whatever we do, every decision we take centers around the safety and the security of your child. So please bear with us. And as you are aware, if there's any query, we are open to come. We'll give you an appointment. You come and meet us. And we will express what we have to express. We will even listen to what you have to say. But please do not do this. The school and class teacher must be informed if your child has a serious medical problem, as I mentioned earlier. Also, when you are picking your child from school, in case you are not coming in and another person is coming in, maybe the grandfather of the child or another uncle, please ensure that an authority letter is sent with the concerned person. If there is a problem, as I mentioned, first discuss it with the class teacher and the protocol I have already mentioned in the points earlier. Discipline in private buses, please ensure, especially the private transporters. In the school bus, we have our school maushis, we have our conductors, we have our drivers who take care. But the private vans, please ensure that you are leaving the life of your child in the right hands. I know for a fact there was a time where one nursery child was sleeping in the van. This happened many years ago. The driver parked the van near Hills and Dales, and fortunately one of the, members who was walking along the street saw the child sleeping in the van. The driver didn't even know. Immediately we were informed and things were sorted out and the parent got the child safely. So please ensure that you are entrusting your child's life with the right person and the driver. Parents must caution the van or bus drivers to ensure that they drive safely and that no child is left back in the van or bus. Any grandparents, relatives coming to collect report cards are required to carry an authority letter signed by the child's parents, and they are not to act rude or demanding. Please ensure that you collect the report card on the specified date given to you. We do have cases where parents are out of station, they are not in here, and they do send us a mail if you can come and collect the report card. That is done. If you have a problem with the teacher this year, it should be dealt with now and not carried out over to the next year when the child has left the class. Whatever the problems you have faced, please deal with it then and there. Don't carry it over to the next year. The moment your child is in the next class, you are mentioning what happened the previous year to the next teacher. Please do not do that. Whatever the thing is, sort it out, finish and let go. Please do not approach any touts or so-called leaders for admission for a fee, as this is against our policy and Christian spirit. We do not accept any donation for admissions, and those who approach you are not representing us. As you are aware, our principal, Mr. Lu, has made the system very, very clear and transparent. Parents apply online, a mail is sent to you to come for the entrance test. Child does the entrance test. If he or she has got the admission, which is purely based on merit. But once your child doesn't get that, please do not approach any politicians and put in any pressure on the school management. All new students need to submit the original transfer certificate in the school office. This is very important. If you belong to a certain subcaste, a caste certificate is to be submitted, and kindly check with the school office to ensure that this has been updated. If the certificate is not handed in, then the caste will be considered as general by default, and any change request after that will not be entertained. It is mandatory for parents to update the school about the change in phone numbers or address. As you are aware, right at the beginning of the academic session, sheets were sent to home for you to enter various details of the bus driver, phone numbers, address. If there is any change, kindly intimate the class teacher. Aadhaar card to be updated in the child's profile. If you are facing any difficulties in doing so, please contact the office for assistance. Parents, gents and ladies, you are requested to please come and appropriately dressed to school, especially when during the drop and pick up of your child. Parents to know that the counseling and remedial educators for both the shifts are available on a daily basis in the Sparkles room in Building 3. The school psychologist, Dr. Singh, will be available to meet parents only on Wednesdays through appointment only, prior appointments. Finally, I request you all parents, if you have anything, any feedback, anything that you would like to communicate to us, kindly email at hmsund@thebishopschool.net. If you need to meet me in person, you may procure a prior appointment and I'll definitely see you. I thank you all for everything that you do in ensuring that the well-being of our children is utmost priority at the Bishop's School.Undri. God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your patience and your time that you've taken out with us to be present for the principal's address. You can now meet the teachers. Please do know that we have some time constraints. 11 o'clock is the break, if I'm not mistaken. The short break. There are other teachers who are filling in their place. So I request the second shift staff, kindly please move to the back where you could meet the teachers, where you could meet the parents of the second shift. And class 3, 4 and 5, it's a big group. So class 3, class 4 in the center and class 5 to my extreme right. Teachers at the back. Can go to the back so we just distribute the parents. So thank you parents once again.